So, this is the only specific slide in the whole thing, but British Airways and John Lewis. Not necessarily as different as you would think. They are clearly different, but in IT, there's some similarities. Importance of online. It is remarkable how, the online revolution is changing whole industries. You can feel in terms of, the sales figures that come through. The absolute growth of online. So in the shops, we're holding our own, even in the teeth of a very difficult trading position. But online continues to grow in double digits every day, every week, in every category. Mixture of legacy and ultra-modern. I think probably anybody who's in a company that's been around any time has oodles of legacy. Remember, today's legacy is last year's fabulous leading-edge system. Good news about legacy is it probably runs on, some rather old equipment that's fully written down, which is nice. If it's still there, every bug that existed in it's been taken out of it. And, it may be much despised and it may be a bit inflexible, but at least it runs. And anyway, you've got it, so you need to make the most of it. And then you've got the mixture of the ultra-modern leading-edge stuff. And that's part of the challenge is to how you pull all that together. And absolutely the same. Two IT departments are very skilled, very professional, very committed IT teams. And Kevin Berry, who's in the audience, is the IT director at Waitrose, was one of my predecessors as IT director at John Lewis. What's different? Well, I think the speed of retail, the damn thing moves so quickly. It's amazing. So at 12:30, or if things are running a bit slow, 12:35, I get the file through, which tells us, anybody on the board, how much we sold in the previous day in every single shop, in every single category. You could instantaneously feel how the business is moving and how it's going, which is a lot faster than I was used to in the airline business. However, I think online business revolutionized, as Simon said in his intro, the airline business, with things like online check-in and dynamic packaging of products and barcodes on boarding passes and so on and so forth on mobile, rather faster than it has in retail. But it does absolutely feel it's been revolutionizing at the moment. And then the other thing is our very ambitious growth plans that we've got. And as I said, we're going international online in a few weeks' time. So leadership really matters in IT, as it does everywhere. This is a picture of a late Roman cavalry leader. It's from the film King Arthur. I put it there because I rather like it. It is actually rather inappropriate for leadership in the 21st century. So what does it mean to lead? I did the boring thing and looked in the Oxford Dictionary. And there's several definitions there, but this one actually sort of started to work for me. Be in charge or command of, that is, organize and direct. Be the principal player of a group of musicians. Set a process in motion. Begin a report of text with a particular item. In boxing, make an attack. Lead. That's good. In card games, play the first card. So some of those sort of work. So leadership in technology requires you to organize and direct people and resources. And I think that's really important. A lot of the things I've been talking about are about that. It's about organizing them, getting the structures right, but also giving direction, setting direction. Setting processes in motion. I think processes are a really key thing that CIOs and IT directors have got. I think our people and we understand processes. We can see the end-to-end business. We're rather good at process. You're probably better than most people in your business at process, as you are with project management. So setting processes in motion, I think, is important. I like this one. You conduct expert professionals like the leader of a group of musicians. As I say, technology really matters. At the end of the day, when something goes horribly wrong at 3 in the morning and the feed doesn't go through or the new release isn't, you are going to rely on Fred or Jane and their expertise and their understanding of how it all fits together. You absolutely have groups of very talented people, who understand an awful lot. And I like the idea that actually leadership in IT is about conducting. I think that's rather good, because everybody has to be in time, in tune, on the beat. And then sometimes you do need to lead, as in boxing, to fight your corner, and indeed take the bullet for your people, and stand up and say, actually, we can't do everything. It's just impossible. Or if you want to put that change in this new release, I can guarantee that it's going to fall over. So I think sometimes you do have to stand up and take it. I did sometimes feel I should have put it in here actually, that picture of Nelson walking around the deck of the Victory being shot at by the snipers of the enemy, while the people who could really win the battle got on and solved it. So if any of you have ever had a serious outage on a key system, you will know that the CIO's job is to ring up the chairman and the chief executive and to say, yeah, we've got a problem. No, we don't know what the cause is. I think we may be able to bring it back, but I can't be certain. I'm going to ring you in another 30 minutes. And then to hold the phone away from the ear and to take it and to take the bullets for your people. Because what they don't need is a bunch of people who don't know anything about technology demanding answers they can't give. They need to find a solution. So I think it's very important to necessarily do that at the right time. I quite like this definition because it's not as militaristic as the picture. It's got the music in, it's got the processors in, but it's not too woolly either. But technology really matters too. Here's a bit of Roman technology, Pont du Gard in southern France, a wonderful piece of technology. And it's not quite a normal bridge, of course, is it? Because if you think about it, this amazing structure runs water across there, and it's an aqueduct. And that aqueduct runs something like 60 miles from the source to Arles, the Roman city. And of course, that has to slope down ever so gradually over those 60 miles, otherwise it won't work. So, imagine, if they hadn't done their user acceptance testing, how that would have felt. Anyway. So, my 5 C's technology for the future, and I can claim no great originality here, and apologies for the alliteration. But consumerization, everything is going to become, or at least start to be dressed up like an app. Apple and Steve Jobs have trained everybody to expect things to work that easily, to swipe them, hit them, and they work. So, everybody's going to try and build things like that because, things are supposed to be easy to use. I remember we used to have a training course for the call center agents in British Airways, which took 2 weeks. 2 weeks to do what? To take a phone call from somebody. To do what? To book a ticket on a flight there and back to Paris. 2 weeks training through very complex green screen systems. Then we put it online, and then all our customers could do it. So why do you need all that complexity? So I think we need to think about what people expect from it. Call centers are there to sell you, to upsell, to absolutely deal with issues and problems. I'm not saying you don't need call centers, but sure as hell, you don't need call centers for things that most of your customers can do in a second. Connectivity. Yeah, I think we all recognize this. Everyone connected anywhere, anyhow, anytime. And that's going to be really, really important. We're absolutely staggered in British Airways, and I'm absolutely staggered in John Lewis by the value and extent that people now have confidence in doing things online. They will spend lots of money when they get some downtime. So maybe some of you at the back are a bit bored by this. I hope you're buying something on johnlewis.com. Convergence. This is an interesting thing. This is the Internet of Things stuff, which you've all heard about. The fact that they're going to be allegedly, I don't know who counted them, 1 trillion IP addresses this year. The way I bring this one to life is, I need to develop a John Lewis one, but this is a British Airways one, which is, if you think about an A380, it's got a part. The parts are monitored. Can signal back. You know that part is going to reach its going out of life point in 8 hours' time. So you know you can finish the flight from Sydney to Singapore, but you know your A380 is going to go out of service in Singapore, which means you've got 580 passengers in different cabins with different expectations. That means you need to get a new aircraft or 2 new aircraft down there. That means the crew will go out of ours. That means you need another crew or another 2 crews that will be there to get there, and so on and so forth. And you need to rebook everybody to get back, and you need to make sure the bags come off and there, and you need to cater the aircraft. You've got to remember that you've got to do, and so on and so forth. So that message will tell you lots of different things. Oh, and by the way, to get the new part from the engineering department down there. And if you can connect that lot up, if you can use that amount of information in intelligent systems that interrelate, and I think everybody's a long, long way from that, but if you can actually use that information, you can get a real drop on your competitors, because when the A380 lands at Singapore, you've booked all your passengers into the appropriate hotels. You've got some aircraft heading down from London that you'll be able to rebook them on. You are already rebooked, and you've turned a really bad customer experience into something that you've recovered, and you've recovered before anybody knew it happened or was going to happen. So I think there's some really interesting things about how you connect things and people and systems and processes. Collaboration, tools for us to connect at work and at play and in between as well. I absolutely feel that we ought to use all this social networking stuff in the workplace as well. I know examples that I've sponsored in terms of wikis and doing that. I think we should really absolutely use that. And of course the cloud, which has been hyped to death by the salesman, but absolutely, I think, has the right sort of applications that people can use. And in my capacity as chairman of CETA, we have announced an airline business private cloud with 6 centers around the world. So basically, any airline in any airport will be able to run their basic services out of the CETA cloud. Now, highly unlikely of our business, we've said we're going to be a 1 billion online business reasonably shortly. In British Airways, where 30% of sales by volume is on the website and another 10% indirect on other people's websites. In British Airways, where at T5, 40% or 50%, I think, now use online check-in and on a busy day of the week, and 30% use the kiosks. What I always used to tell the guys in the data center is they're front line. They actually sell more tickets than any other channel, and they also check in more people than the people on the check-in desk. So, it is really customer-facing IT these days. Get onto your business's strategic agenda. What really matters to the CEO? Love the technology. Don't be afraid of it. Explain it, but explain it in business-like terms. Keep cutting the cost of operation to drive the investment. Don't let the suppliers get away from you. Really manage that, and try and lead your people.